What's going on, guys? Christian here from CK Wraps. Today I'm going to wrap the interior of a Tesla Model 3, full interior right here. So I'm going to wrap the wood grain, it's the center console with the piano black, in Vvivid's new forged carbon fiber. Now this stuff looks pretty awesome. I have to say it shines and shimmers really nicely. It's trying to give the appearance of real forged carbon fiber, which obviously costs a fortune. You'll see forged carbon fiber on high-end exotic cars, but not to say that you want to do this on your whole vehicle. This is great for interior trim pieces like what we're about to do today. So we're going to transform the interior of this vehicle and also at the same time protect this very delicate and fragile piano black that's on the interior. If you guys are looking for more videos, don't forget to check out my website, ckwraps.com. There's going to be a video on how to wrap the front bumper on a Tesla Model 3 on my website. I'll put a link in the description below and in the top corner for you. What's going on, guys? Christian here from CK Wraps. Today I'm going to show you how to wrap the front bumper on a Tesla Model 3. There might be another variation to do this. This is the way that I do it. I've done a couple of them now, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it from beginning to end. Like, I'm used to vinyls pre-shrinking and stuff like that. This doesn't really pre-shrink all that much, which is really interesting. Now also, if you're looking to remove this actual center console, sorry, this TV screen that they have here, that's also going to be on my website, ckwraps.com. So there are disassembly videos, forum, open forum, discussion board, that sort of thing, and how to wrap very particular parts of a vehicle. Now, let's get to it. You're going to need a few things. You're going to need, obviously, the vinyl that you want to use. Today we're using Vvivid's forged carbon fiber. We're going to need a glove. I've got a soft squeegee, a hard squeegee with a buffer on it, a tucking tool, and a knife. On top of that, we're going to need some isopropyl alcohol. In this bottle right here, I have 70% isopropyl alcohol. This is going to clean and decontaminate the interior and strip down any waxes or any armor, all that sort of thing that might be on the interior. We want to make sure that this surface is purified and perfectly clean. This car has a dog in it all the time, so there's a lot of dog hair around. I'm doing my best to make sure that there is no dog hair underneath the wrap. There's a little bit right here still, but if anything gets underneath the wrap, we'll just rewrap it. Not a big deal. We're also going to need a heat gun, which I have on the floor right here. When you're using your heat gun, make sure you take your heat gun and put it outside of the car. Never leave it inside the car because you're going to burn something. Interior pieces are very fragile, okay? This interior here, I don't even think it's real leather. This will burn very easily if it's just vinyl. So just keep in mind, keep your heat gun out of the interior when you're not using it. We're going to get to it. Pretty straightforward stuff here as far as wrapping goes. So we're going to wrap this piece right here. Obviously, having access without the screen here, without the monitor, makes a big difference when it comes to doing this. So, you know, this is why I've removed it. On top of that, I'm going to get some masking tape. So that's one other thing that we're going to need. We want to mask off some of this silver trim here so that the vinyl doesn't stick to it. So let's grab some of that. I went and picked up my blue masking tape, and I'm going to wipe the interior down right now. I've already wiped it, but I'm going to wipe it again. Always be sure to decontaminate the surface as much as possible. For me, this includes wiping the interior down many times. I want to make sure that I strip off armor, all that sort of thing, any contaminants that might be sitting around on the surface, and then we're going to mask. Get into that crack there, get on all around to the very end, both sides. Cool. I'll wipe the bottom piece afterwards. For now, we'll just put the microfiber cloth resting there. Let's get our masking tape and rip off this end and start masking. Let's see if we can get this to adhere. So this material is actually very interesting. It's not, the tape's not sticking at all. So for me, let's see if this tape will stick to the top. It won't even stick to the wood. Very interesting. So we're going to see how long this wrap will last. On this surface right here, the vinyl is sticking much better. Okay, so we can actually wrap this this center console here with a bit more durability. Here, I'm not certain about how long it's going to last for. Depending on the texture and finish of the vehicle and the panels that you're wrapping, the film may or may not last a long time. It may last a long time. Let's do this. Just gonna give it one more dust off, and we're gonna wrap it. The placement is very important here. Now this piece, end to end, is about 54 inches long. So you want to start, and we want to get this film going on one end, and bring it down to the other. I'll start way down there, give myself extra hanging off. Now there's not going to be a lot of tension on this piece, so I'm not really worried about it lasting too long, but we'll see. You know, this is Sean's car. So no big deal. You know, if it doesn't last, we just take it off and do something else later on. So all we're doing here is getting our placement down. This looks pretty cool. I'm gonna heat to get it to actually adhere better. And I'm gonna use my squeegee, because the heat will actually help. Obviously working inside the car, tight squeeze. Make sure my heat gun's ready, cool. Want to heat all this down. It's going to give me better bonding. Made a wrinkle there, let's fix it. There we go. Not that you could even really tell if you got a wrinkle. Keep coming across. We don't want to heat the film too much. We just want to make it sticky and pliable. Keep working our way across. Work my way down here. Now, when it comes to doing the very ends of this trim piece, I'll show you on the passenger side there what exactly I'll do. I have a little technique that many other installers will use. Now, let's go take my heat gun out of the car and fix this up right here because it's still very bunched up. There we go. Let's get it a little flatter than that. There we go. So we just want to just get it pretty flat at first, and then we'll add heat to it right now. So what this is doing is also causing the film to pre-shrink a little bit, which is nice. This way we don't have to worry about any lifting. Most films will pre-shrink right off the roll, which means that they tend to shrink a little bit. It's just the nature of the beast, even before you even stretch it. Keep going. I'm going to start tucking in this area here. Because there's a little bit of a gap behind here. Just lifting off of the opposing panel to make sure that I'm able to tuck into this area. This is a pretty neat film. It's a pretty neat finish. Going all the way down. Now what I want to do is make sure that we're very tight across the edge. I haven't quite heated down here yet. Going right to the very ends. And once I finish this part right here, I'm going to show you how to wrap the very ends. We're going to transform this entire interior today. Cool. Now this is where my tucking tool comes into play. Nope, it's right here. What I want to do is lift the film slightly off of the trim and get it situated at the cusp of this silver trim right here, right at that edge, right here. To do that, we want to make sure that there's no tension on the film. The better we do this, the longer our film will last, our wrap will last. So we're just getting a little bit of a pre-tuck going on. It's coming along. This film is very tricky to see where the line is. So now I'm going to start doing some cutting here. I want to plant my hand on something and then cut in that gap. Very, very carefully. Your body position and things like that will matter. They matter a lot. It's very precise, okay? Super, super precise. Along this bottom edge here, I can actually just trim because there is no silver trim right here. And in this situation, you want to work with a very sharp blade. This will help when it comes time to cut. Cool. Let's move this off of those rungs here. All right, it's looking pretty good so far. I'm going to try and do some of the rest here. I prefer to draw the blade towards myself. I'm more stable this way. Amazing. Piece there, there we go. Let's keep going. Let's keep going down the rest of the way here. So again, I'm going to lift off. Get some more of the film tucked into this edge. And then I'm going to probably stand outside of the car when I get to near the end here. It's going to help me draw the blade towards myself. Or I may be able to actually draw the blade across this way. I'm going to see what feels comfortable right now. I actually can do it from here and cut across. Comfortable with this. Still kind of positioning myself behind the blade, behind my cut. I don't have to push too hard. My lighting has improved since the last interior Tesla wrap video. Again, constantly looking and feeling at the same time. Cool. Let's keep coming across. Stand outside of the vehicle. All right, as I get near the end here, I'm going to finish that off. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring the heat gun around to the other side and we're going to finish off that end corner over there. So I'll show you what to do. Camera positioning and that sort of thing with the door is a little bit tricky. So again, we're just going to pre-tuck the film here. Try and stay out of your way the best that I can. Make sure I heat the film on the very end. I don't want to cut the film when it's too warm. It's going to be very hard to cut when it's warm. So let it cool slightly. It's about good. Piece there, let's get it. Done. Now we have to trim out the top area here. We have way too much film. I'm gonna look around the top corner here. I'm gonna cut a little slit right here on the top side. There we go. That will give me enough to pull down and around. So I just want to heat the film slightly. Keep the film tight, okay? That's it for this area here. A little tension on the film always. Before I cut, I'm going to heat again. Make sure the film does its thing. The film is really not wanting to stick to this area at all. So we have to find a way to do this. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a slit. So I'm going to cut, actually have to cut on the interior slightly, and I'm going to cut and fold the film to alleviate tension. We just don't want to cut through. And then we can overlap these pieces with very little tension. Now when I heat it, shouldn't want to move. I'm adding a good amount of heat just to make sure the film stays down and stays put. I'm essentially melting the film around it slightly, just getting the film to stay where I want it to stay. We have to let that cool before we cut it. In order to do the rest here, I have to cut in the gap here. So I'm going to start my cut over here actually. You're not going to be able to see much of that. And then just run my blade in the gap that's in here. Very, very, very gently. That's why it helps to have a sharp blade, because then you can cut much easier without pressure. Cool. There we go. As this cools, which should probably cool right around now, we can start cutting this area out. Now, let's get it here. There we go. Run our blade across the bottom edge. Run our blade, sorry if I'm in your way. Run our blade across the bottom here again. Try to find where the line is, where it meets this plastic trim on the bottom. Looking very close. Tricky stuff doing this. It's not all that easy. I'm going to take my blade and basically find the edge here and scissor it or Pac-Man it around the corner. So I don't have to drag it. Makes it a lot easier. That's how you do that. Move on to cutting the rest out, and then this piece will be finished. I'm going to do the exact same thing on this side. I'm going to do my relief cut, and then I'm going to cut and fold. This way I don't have to stretch the material. This corner is not liking it. The material itself that I'm wrapping over top of doesn't seem to like like being wrapped. So that's why we're doing it like this. Just very gently heat it and lay it all down. Heat it again once it's down. And then we'll get to cutting. I'll get to cutting out this top section some more. Again, very tricky to reach, okay? This is probably gonna require me using my left hands to cut. It's no problem, done this many times. But for those of you who haven't done this before, it could be a little bit challenging, all right? And there is a little gap in there. And that's where we situate our blade. Make sure that I am actually cutting through it. Okay, cool. There's no point in keeping going on if we're not getting the actual cut done that we need to get done. Very gently. Almost there. Get myself outside of the car and finish this off in 2 seconds here. That should be it. Let's see. When we pull the film off, we pull it away from the panel that we just wrapped. Cool, that part's all finished. I'm ready to cut the back side over here. My lighting is not as good over here, so I'm really gonna take my time because I left the lights on the other side there so that you guys could see. Yeah, this is something that's just more for fun. Maybe border your interior, maybe you want to protect it, maybe you want to give it a cool look. This will definitely give you a unique look. Same thing here. I'm gonna roll my blade around the corner. Not that you can see much right now. It's all right. Exact same thing on this side as I did on that side. Gonna hit this up with a bit of heat. Get in there, around the top edge. Let's get in there with some more heat going across. Let's get in there with a squeegee actually to be better. Keep everything neatly tucked away. Let's get this heat gun out of here. We finished this piece right here. I'm going to show you the entire interior when it's finished. Right now, we're going to get on to wrapping the center console. Center console, I have a video on this. We're going to do this in a new type of material, which is this one right here, to get it to match. As you can see that this pattern is very abstract. It doesn't really run one particular direction over another. So lining it up won't be a challenge because it's not supposed to line up. It's supposed to be abstract. It's supposed to be different from panel to panel to panel. We'll do our best to get it, as symmetrical as possible, but again, it's supposed to be an abstract piece. Let's grab our film and wipe off this area. Okay, since I ran this piece going across, I actually cut this section out going lengthwise across. All I have to do now is take this piece and line it up going across like this. That's it. So it'll be as close as it possibly can to match that piece, but again, this piece is so abstract that it shouldn't really matter that much. But I am actually lining it up to my best ability right here to make it as even as possible. Let's cut out a section that we need, which is approximately just about that wide right there. All right, let's do it. We'll go a little extra. You should be using some sort of a safety blade to cut this. It's not ideal to be using a knife inside the car like I just did, but be careful. Put that out of the way there. Let's give this a wipe down. Let's put our knife in there. Again, I've wiped this down several times. Spraying the cloth down is a bit more effective because you can control the area. You don't want anything dripping around and off the edges and stuff like that. Still some dog hair kicking around that top side there. Let's get it. Let's get the top of this edge right here. There's some edges that we just cannot reach, okay? So I'm going to grab my squeegee and try to get into the sides slightly. We do not need to really wrap around some of these edges on the sides, especially because we'll never really see it. And it's just black underneath. It being black underneath and black on top, you never notice. This is why a lot of cars use black as an accent piece, because it goes with everything. So even if we don't wrap it 100% perfect, it's still gonna go with everything, don't worry. Let's get onto this piece right here. I've adjusted the camera to fit the area as best as I can. Now, make sure there's not any dust, something embedded on here. I cleaned everything off. This panel's a little bit tricky because it likes to move. So when we lift it up or when we push down on it, it wants to open up. So you just don't want to push down on it too hard. Perfect, now it's nice and clean. Take our piece, let's This piece is much bigger than I need it, so I'm going to trim some off right here. Still see a hair up there. I'm trying to get that out. There we go. I even used a compressor on the interior to help try to blow away some of the contaminants. I'm going to take our film, remove the release liner, and get this plopped right on there, up to the very top edge, as far as we can. I want to try to not have to trim the very top piece. And this is the piece that's hidden behind the screen anyways over here, very, very top piece. I don't want to have to trim that. There's no point in sticking your blade on it if you don't have to. Very straightforward. Excellent. We're going to add some heat. Sit the film down. Get it all nice and tight. Seems to be good. At this point, we cut. We're going to find the edge of the panel and run our blade down the edge of the panel. This usually requires poking through. And then we run the back portion of our blade, I can even do this with one hand, against the side of the panel. It's my hand rubbing on the other panel back here. Once you get to the end, you come out, same thing, start up here. You don't want to leave any excess film around the sides. There's no point, because you're not going to be able to wrap it around properly. I need to finish off the top cut right here. Let's come across. There's a gap right here. We're going to cut in it between the two pieces. Again, a little tricky since there isn't a lot of space here to put your hand. I have to cut with my left hand now. Very tricky. I want to make sure we're staying in that nice gap. Excellent. I'm going to finish up the very top right here. There and there. This should remove. Perfect. So should this side. Perfect. We can actually add a little heat now. Finish up these edges before we open it up. It may open up as I push down on it. We'll try not to do that. Finish up there. As I heat it, the film is actually just rolling itself around slightly. So all I'm doing right now is assisting it around the rest of the way. Get in with the buffer side first, and then I get in with the hard edge afterwards. This is a pretty cool interior. I don't care if Sean likes it or not, it's going to keep it. Alright, we're going to get the very end piece right here. Just heating it to soften it and mold the film down and around. Very straightforward, very easy to do. I'm not heating it from very close, just adding some warmth to the film. This means that we can actually, when we open it up, we're going to see carbon fiber on this edge, which is cool. I'll even do this side afterwards too. Come straight across the bottom. Boom. A little tricky going this way and staying straight across the bottom. Done. Amazing. go over the edge with heat, but we go over everything at the end anyways. That looks pretty amazing. I gotta say, I'm a fan. All right, next piece. This piece right here. Let's open this up so we have access to the front edge. Again, wipe it down a little bit. I'll give it a bit more of a wipe down and go to town. I'm gonna get in to some of the cracks with my cloth and the squeegee, just so that we can get the film slightly around the other side. Amazing. Take our piece that we cut off from this piece and get it slapped down on here. Yeah, this is not gonna line up, right? It doesn't matter. It's not supposed to line up. It's supposed to look abstract. Get in here. But you can try to line up the best you can. Again, it won't be, I don't believe it will be noticeable. See, this is what happens with this thing. It likes to move. I'm gonna add heat so it stays. Tighten it all up to the edges. Get in there with the cracks, just using my fingernail. You can improvise. You can even get in there a little bit like this. There we go. So what I'm going to do now is cut off the sides. I'm going to hold this piece down, and I'm going to cut off the sides. And then the back section, while I'm pressing down on the front edge of this piece. Very, very tight gap. Again, sharpest blade possible is ideal for this kind of work. I'm looking very close so that I can see. Amazing. I have to go with my left hand the rest of the cut here. It's more comfortable than using my right in this case. Now I should be able to use my right hand here. Come down the side. Perfect. This entire piece should come off. Nice. We can let the console open up. Take our knife, put it away, grab our heat gun. Again, heat the top edge. This one landed just perfectly. Usually you want to leave yourself a little bit more film. I have a little excess right here on the end. I'll have to trim that off and a little bit down here. But all in all, it landed very perfectly to the edge. Remember, the amount of heat you use is very important. You do not want to burn the interior. So don't get in there and go crazy with it. Just shave that off right there. Then shave off some excess film right over here. Using the sharpest part of my blade, which is the inner section right here. Amazing. Let's get into sealing up the rest of the edges here. This way, when I open it, it doesn't flip up. Like right back here, it kind of is. So I'm just going to be very gentle with the heat and very gentle with my squeegee so that I don't end up opening this while I do this. I want it to stay down. A couple passes with heat. Get in there with the hard edge of the squeegee, using the gold one here, just to finesse it. Beauty. You can start seeing what this looks like as we close everything. It looks amazing. One last piece to do, which is the cup holder area. Remove the armrest back, and get into the cup holder area using a tucking tool. There we go. We're gonna need to clean it again, as always. I open it up so that way I can wipe the back edge here for sure, get everything out of the way, because the actual armrest overlaps our piece. Be extra thorough in this area when you're cleaning, when you're prepping. Again, this is where coffee's gonna spill and stuff like that, so we wanna make sure we're getting it really clean and tight. When it comes to cutting this area, it's very tricky, okay? You need the sharpest blade possible. And I'm going to move the camera so we can get a full picture of everything that I'm gonna be doing here. Grab back. Let's line the camera up. As I mentioned, we need a very sharp blade, so I'm going to actually cut or snap a blade off, fresh one. Use my blade box, snap this guy off. Good. Get your blade box out of the way, and we're gonna go to town on this. We're gonna get our piece cut, roll it out, make sure I've got the correct width, something like that. Cut this off. Remember, use something safer than a knife. I'm using a knife in the car. It's not the safest to do this right now, but something I'm comfortable with. Excellent. We're gonna size up our piece. Cool. And this is all about positioning right now, so I need to figure out what way is gonna work for me in getting this down and staying out of your way for the camera. Cut off some excess. I don't need all of that. If there's a little bit of lint, usually that's not a problem for the wrap, okay? Normally you don't see that through. Obviously try to get everything off, but if there's a little bit of lint, that's not a problem. It's coarse hairs, dirt, that sort of thing that you usually see through it. Cool. That's the piece that I need. Remove the release liner. Get it flattened out. And just keep everything flat across the cup holder at first. As flat as possible. We don't want to start pushing into the cup holder. What will happen is it's going to bunch up your material around it. So you want to get the whole piece down really nice and flat at first. Squeegee it all out. Since the hardest part to do is the actual cup area, we're going to actually do that area first. What you want to do here, guys, is cut out sort of the shape of your cup holder. So I'm going to go in like sort of a figure-8 style shape. It's going to help alleviate tension in the area. I'm leaving myself with about 1/2 inch or so, 1.5 centimeters, something like that, for those who are using different scales here. And leave ourselves with a little bit extra just so we know we have full coverage, because we still have to roll the film around. We might as well do this part first, because if we mess it up, you're going to want to redo it again. At this point right here, I'm going to add heat. I have to move myself out of the vehicle and kneel down. And grab this heat gun. Now I'm kneeling down on the seat. I'm going to push this out of the way so hopefully you can see a little bit better. I don't want to cut this just yet. I want to finish doing the cup holder. So I'm going to massage the film with some heat down to the silver edge that's on the inside of this cup holder. We work the film down with heat. In a sense, we're sort of stretching it down, but we're not really. We're just massaging the film. Massaging the film is key because we're not adding any more tension to the film than we need to be. When you work these corners here, push down on them, okay? Heat them and push down on them. This is not the end of it. We still need to get in there with a tucking tool and really define the edge of the silver plate that's inside. This way I know exactly where I need to cut. And the lighting in here, again, very minimal. It's very tricky. We also cannot cut the film while it's hot. I believe, I'm looking at it right now, I believe that I've made it to the edge all the way around very nicely. This would be a good opportunity to use a glove. I'm not using a glove, but it would be a good opportunity for that. Cool. We grab our tucking tool at this point. And I'm going to push down and look very closely and define this silver trim edge. How am I cutting this? It's going to be very carefully. You can see that my tool is sort of going underneath in the space. If you actually look at it, it's going underneath that silver trim, or in between the silver trim end and the actual piano black. So that's the goal here, is to try and get the film pushed in ever so slightly. Taking your time. Just taking your time. I wonder if the piano black could be separated from the silver trim. It probably could. I feel like when I push with my tucking tool that I'm able to sort of space it out a little bit, which is pretty cool. So maybe one time I'll actually try separating that and then put that video on my website as well. It would definitely make life a little bit easier, being able to separate the piano black from the silver trim cup holder base there. All right, feeling good about it, guys. At a certain point we just have to kind of go for it. I'm gonna look super close here and start where I'm most comfortable. Sharpest blade possible. Very important. You can see, if you look very closely, my blade is actually underneath and in the gap. Putting yourself in a comfortable place when you're cutting like this, again, very important. And come around the corner here, and then I'm going to switch angles just to come into this corner here. Beauty, and meet it there. Let's keep coming around. Just continue where I left off. If we push too hard, we're going to get stuck. So we don't want to push too hard. We want to let the blade do the work. My elbow's going to get stuck against the armrest. There we go. Just moved it around. Again, the tip of my blade is just in that edge slightly. Cool. I'm coming along. This is the trickiest part of the whole thing, so you might as well really take your time. Now I gotta go left-handed here, which is the fun part. It's because otherwise I'd switch sides and be in front of the camera, but I don't want to be in front of the camera. Okay, so I believe that I've met the two areas. I have. That's great. Perfect. So far so good. I'll start removing this just so you can kind of see. I left a teeny tiny bit uncut right there. There we go. Good. So we're starting to remove some of that so we can see exactly what we're looking at. And again, kneel down on the seat, position myself better here. I'm going to make sure I define my line. Just use my fingernail there to check. And come around the corner, kind of Pac-Man it around the corner. Okay, it's really tricky over here. It's getting very awkward for me to cut without getting on the passenger side of the vehicle right now. I'm going to try to come in this way. I usually like to meet at the corner from both sides. That works. That works for me. few more seconds here and we're finished. There's this pass, which I'm almost finished. And then a slight bit more right over here. Come back the rest of the way and we're done this cup holder area. Beautiful. Amazing. That's what it's supposed to look like. Now I can sit down, take some tension off my back, and finish up the sides. Let's position myself in a better spot to finish off this back cut. There's a little gap there, nothing crazy. So we take our time once again and just keep our blade in between the gap. Let's remove this. As I get out here, really want to go slow. There we go. Cool, we're going to go over this with heat and then this is going to be finished up. Get those sides right here, squeegee first, sorry, buffer side first, just to round it off. And then we get in there. We'll get in there with a tucking tool this time since the gap is much tighter. I'm going to go over this area here. Just make sure it's sitting pretty. Just pressing down with my finger. It's not, it shouldn't move at all or do anything. It should just stay the way it is. Amazing. The interior is finished. I'm going to bring you in for some close-up action on what this looks like. And here's what your forged carbon fiber interior looks like. And that's in the cup holder. That beige color you're seeing is a reflection off of something. It is just black. Pretty neat stuff. It's like matte and shiny gloss. I don't know, at the same time, it's very cool. That's it for the interior wrap on a Tesla Model 3 in Vvivid's new forged carbon fiber. Looks pretty outstanding, something totally different. You can do this on many other things. Doesn't have to be a Tesla, doesn't have to be an interior. You can wrap your drum set in it, you can wrap your hockey stick in it, you can wrap your hockey helmet in it. You can do whatever you want in this kind of stuff. amazing for accenting and trim details, that sort of thing. I think it looks great. Definitely gives a fresh appearance to the vehicle, something one-off, totally custom. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Again, don't forget to check out my website, ckreps.com. Again, thank you for watching. Looking forward to doing more videos for you. Take care.